welcome you. Today on the deep dive, we're getting into something uh, really fundamental, foundational strength.
Yeah, what actually holds things up, both like in our beliefs and, just practically in life?
Exactly. And we're drawing mainly from, well, two key places today. There's the transcript concepts from Nizwaki Tancredi's work on repairing faulty foundations.
Uh-huh. That building analogy is central there.
Right. And also that really well-known biblical passage, Matthew 7, verses 24 to 27. The wise and foolish builders.
Ah, yes. Building on rock versus sand. Very relevant.
Totally. So our mission today is, sort of, to unpack how these hidden foundational issues can mess with, well, pretty much everything, and crucially, what we can maybe do about it.
It's a big topic. Lots to dig into.
Definitely. Have you ever felt like you're just spinning your wheels, working hard, trying to do the right things, but the results just aren't there?
I think a lot of people can relate to that feeling.
Well, our sources today suggest the answer might actually lie in those unseen foundations. So let's start there.
Okay, so the building metaphor from the Tancredi material is, I think, a great place to begin.
Yeah, it really clicks.
It emphasizes that the foundation is, well, it's the load-bearing part. You don't usually see it, but everything depends on it.
Right. And the quote is something like, when the foundation is destroyed, nothing stands. It's stark.
It is. Without it, this building cannot stand. And if there is something wrong with that foundation, the whole building will collapse. It's not subtle.
And it's not just buildings, is it? The source connects this to other areas, like education.
Yeah, that was interesting, the idea that someone can have all the qualifications, degrees, masters, everything.
All the pieces, yeah.
But it ends up being just decoration. Educated, but with nothing to show for, because the underlying foundation isn't right for them to actually use that education effectively.
It's like having the key, maybe the best key, but the lock's been changed somehow. You just can't open the door.
That's a good way to put it. Something foundational is blocking the progress, despite having the apparent tools for success.
This connects to the spiritual side too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's that verse, Psalm 11.3.
Right. If the foundations be destroyed, what can the righteous do? Or another version puts it, when the foundations are destroyed, what can the godly accomplish?
And the key there is the righteous, the godly. It's specifically asking about people who are, trying to live according to certain principles or faith.
Exactly. It implies that even for those who are doing the right things, if the foundation is compromised, their efforts might be, well, ineffective.
Because the idea presented is that the spirit realm, it operates on like rules of engagement, spiritual protocol.
Yeah, it's not just about wishing or shouting louder. You can't just declare something and expect it to happen if a foundational impediment.
Like a legal issue, almost.
Hmm.
The source mentions lawful captives in the spirit realm.
Suggesting some struggles might have these deep, almost legalistic roots based on past actions, agreements, or inherited issues that need specific resolution according to those spiritual laws.
So what does a faulty foundation actually look like in someone's life?
Well, one major sign discussed is operating under the spirit of almost.
Ah, that constant near miss.
Exactly. I almost got married. I almost got the deal. I almost signed the contract. I almost bought the car.
Yeah.
Just always falling short right at the finish line.
I almost graduated. I almost had a child.
Yeah.
It's that pattern of things just not quite coming together.
And it's explained that these faulty foundations can derail things that should be straightforward. Unexpected problems pop up, delays happen. Sometimes it even affects other people involved with you.
Wow. And how do these faulty foundations even get there? Is it always something we did?
Not necessarily. The source talks about unknowingly entering negative spiritual agreements, maybe through ignorance or deception.
Okay.
Or, and this is a big one, inheriting problematic foundations from those who came before you. Family lines, generational patterns.
So stuff you didn't even choose.
Potentially, yes. And also forming connections, like intimate relationships with someone who carries a negative foundation. There's that stark line, "He who lays with the harlot is one," implying a deep spiritual joining that can transfer foundational issues.
That's sobering. So, okay, if these foundations are so crucial and can be messed up in so many ways, what's the first step?
Recognition, that seems to be key. The first step towards any kind of deliverance or help is actually seeing that there is a problem.
Acknowledging the need, yeah.
Right. And the danger highlighted is seeing negative patterns repeat in your life, in your family, and just accepting them, calling it normal.
The source calls that ignorance and even crazy, to just let destructive cycles continue without questioning why.
Mm-hmm. It also contrasts just being born again spiritually with the reality of ongoing, well, warfare. There's still work to do. The Apostle Paul is mentioned even with grace. There's labor. It's not passive.
Which brings us perfectly to the other source, Matthew 7, the parable of the wise and foolish builders.
A classic illustration of this exact point. Two builders, same storm, different outcomes, based entirely on the foundation.
So let's quickly recap that. Jesus tells this story. Anyone who hears his words and puts them into practice is like a wise man.
Uh-huh. Who built his house on the rock.
Right. And the rains came, the floods rose, the winds blew. Basically, life happened. But the house stood firm because it had that solid foundation.
But the foolish man, he heard the same words but didn't act on them. He built his house on sand.
And when the exact same storm hit,
It fell, and the description is powerful. It fell with a great crash. Total collapse.
so it's a direct parallel, isn't it? The rock is the sound foundation spiritually, practically, hearing and doing.
And the sand is the faulty foundation. Maybe just hearing or maybe building on unstable ideas, temporary fixes, ignoring principle.
Whatever it is, it can't withstand pressure.
Exactly. The storm reveals the quality of the foundation. It doesn't cause the weakness, it just exposes it.
So, if we need to repair or build a strong foundation, how does that help actually arrive? The Tancredi source talks about God's methods.
Yeah, this was a fascinating part. The idea that God often works through people. God is the Lord of all spirits, meaning there are spirits of men that submit to this God.
Okay.
Every time God wants to accomplish his mission, he will use another spirit called a man. So help often comes through other people, destiny helpers.
And there's that detailed story, the anecdote about the speaker needing sound equipment for ministry.
Right. Meeting the CEO, Mr. Sunil, unexpectedly. And the CEO asks this really unusual question out of the blue.
Is there anything you need in your life? Just like that.
Yeah. And the speaker mentions the sound system. And the CEO just offers 10,000 rands.
Which was already huge, unexpected.
Totally. But then it gets even more specific. The CEO asks more questions, finds out about the need for drums too, and adds another 6,000. Just bam, help arrives.
Incredible. It really illustrates that idea of a specific destiny helper showing up at just the right time to address a foundational need. Like the ministry couldn't grow without the right tools.
Exactly. And the source adds a caution there too, about how we might misjudge or even hinder the very people sent to help us.
Right, like some of you, God has sent you a destiny helper. You are the one busy trying to help. How can I help you? Yet that person is your destiny helper. We might dismiss the help because it doesn't look like what we expected.
Or we try to take control when we should be receiving. It's about recognizing the source of the help, even when it comes through an unexpected person.
And speaking of people, relationships themselves are highlighted as a critical foundation, aren't they?
Hugely important. Some of you, the foundations that are destroyed are foundations called relationships.
So unresolved stuff, negative ties from the past, even things like exes showing up in dreams are mentioned as signs of lingering problematic connections.
Yeah, the idea is that these broken or unhealthy relational foundations can still be draining you or holding you back, even if the relationship ended long ago.
And fixing other areas might not even work if that relational foundation is still faulty.
Because, as the source reiterates, God works through spirits, the spirits of men. Relationships are the conduits. If those conduits are blocked or damaged,
Then the help can't flow easily. Makes sense.
it really ties everything together. The practical, the spiritual, the relational. It all rests on these underlying structures.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. The big takeaway from this deep dive seems to be the absolutely profound impact of these often invisible foundations.
Yeah, on pretty much every part of life. What you build, how you weather storms, who you connect with.
And the critical importance of, first, recognizing if there are faulty foundations, whether they're beliefs, past hurts, unhealthy connections, generational patterns.
And then actually taking steps to address them. Doing the work, the labor mentioned earlier, guided by sound principles of the rock from the parable.
It's not just about surface level changes. It's about deep structural integrity.
Definitely. So, as you, our listeners, reflect on all this, maybe consider, what rock are you consciously building your life on right now?
Yeah. And are there any areas that feel a bit more like, well, like sand? Areas where things feel unstable or where you see those repeating negative patterns?
It might be time for a deeper look. Because the stability, the resilience, the success you're looking for, it really might depend on the quality of those foundations you've laid.
Yeah, maybe the ones you need to start repairing. Something powerful to think about. We hope this gives you a new lens to examine your own life's construction.